Hey guys, I know I haven't made a video in a long time and I'm really sorry about that, but my video recording and stuff hasn't been going as smoothly as I want. I can't really think of a way to do stuff, but there will be videos coming up soon, I promise you that. But today we're in the kitchen because it is a special time in the mead making process called racking, and it's rack time, or siphoning, you can also call it siphoning. But Drac's Fanger Red Eye mead has finally slowed down the fermenting area. How you can tell is there's now a bubble every one bubble per 30 seconds, and his is going a lot longer than that, so the yeast is basically done fermenting, which is nice. So now we can move on to racking it, which is putting it from its old home, which is this plastic jug, into its new home, which is this glass jug. And I've already sanitized everything. I'm just letting everything air dry. I'll go outside and shake it around a little bit to make sure that there's no star sand bubbles in it. Now you don't have to get rid of the bubbles, but I like to do that just because, I don't know, kind of a little OCD thing, I guess. But star sand solution is no rinse, so you don't need to do this, but I do it. I will go into the materials that you need to do this, and what kind of materials you need to do this. But for right now, I'm going to let this air dry, and I'll be right back with you guys as soon as this is done. While everything's air drying, I thought I'd go over the essential tools that you'll need to siphon your mead to your new home. Now, you don't have to use these exact items or materials to do it, but these are what I'm going to use. For number one, we have an auto siphon. It's a really cool device, and it keeps things nice and sanitary. As you can see, we have a skirt seal here and an open tube, and then another tube right here. And what this does is it fits in here, and it creates a seal around the outer tube. So when you pull it up, it brings the liquid up, and when you push it down, it sends the liquid up through the top of this tube and down into your new home. The great thing about an auto siphon is that it keeps everything sanitary, and it's much better than the traditional method of siphoning, which was you put the tube into your mead and then you'd suck on the tube to bring the mead into its new home. One, that's really unsanitary, and you don't want to get the mead in your mouth because it's pretty bitter. And a good way to tell if your mead is basically done with fermenting is that it'll have a nice bitter taste to it. Well, not nice, but you get what I'm saying. Also, you're going to need some type of tube that goes around the outside of this auto siphon, just like that. And I'm using this thing, I forget what it's called like polytherine or something like that, but what you want is something that's food safe. You don't want anything that's gonna put a taste into your mead, because some tubing will leave a taste in your brew when you siphon it. So I'm using this food safe, I forget what the hell it's called, but it is about 67 cents a foot at Lowe's, and I have 6 feet here. And I really like it. Odorless, tasteless, and it's perfect. And on the homebrew forums that I've been lurking on a little bit, they say this is the stuff to use. So that's what I bought. If I remember what it's called, I'll put a link in the description, so you know, you can check it out. And also, you will need a new home. Glass jugs are preferable to everything else because it's going to have a pretty decent alcohol content, and you don't want that in a plastic jug, so we're using glass here. As you can see, I am letting this air out, and I've gone outside and I've shook the auto siphon, and I'm about to go do the same thing to this tube so that there's no star sand foam in this, and then that it's nice and clean. I should also show you Drac's brew. And the reason we are siphoning this is because as you can see on the top, there's a lot of gunk. You can see the raisins, you can see some of the seeds from the strawberries and raspberries. But at the bottom, we have that white stuff, which is dead yeast and other seeds that have floated down there. And what this siphoning does is it just basically makes it so that none of this stuff is in here, and we just get nice, clean mead. So how does racking actually work, you might be asking? Well, in order to explain that, we have to go into the realm of science. Ooh! This is where physics kicks in. So, we have our mead up here, and our new home right here. This is important. The new home has to be under the bottom of the canister with where your mead is. So, when you put the siphon in here, and you siphon it up, it goes up to the top of the siphon, and it comes down, and goes into your mead, and what happens is, if you have a good flow of liquid or whatever you put into your siphon, that's going to cause the rest of the liquid to travel up with it, kind of a suction vacuum, and into the new home. Science! Ooh. So I'm going to rack this mead right now, and it might be a little bit awkward to watch because I'm doing this by myself, and this tubing is kind of still in a circular arrangement, which makes it kind of, I don't know, hard to handle sometimes. But let me give these the last few shakes, and we're going to come over here and connect one end to the auto siphon. There we go. We're going to find the easiest route for this tube to travel, which seems to be going around. And we're going to lift this up halfway and gently stick it in to our brew. Now mine has a cap on the bottom of it, which is nice because that prevents any of the other yeast getting into the siphon. So we want this to aerate as little as possible. So I'm going to put this up and drop it down once, pick it up again, and I'm about to do it one more time. There we go. As you can see, that beautiful red liquid is going down the tube just by itself. And I'm holding it down the other end so that we don't get too much aeration. And you can see it slowly going down into it. There we go. You can let go of that hand. And also, you can tilt the jug if need be. One thing that is kind of important is you don't want to take all of the liquid out because there's a lot of gunk down there, and we don't want to get any of that gunk in our rack. But I did get a little bit, and that's not bad. It's, you know, it's not the worst thing that could ever happen. So that's why every so often you rack it. But this is the end product of the old home. And if I can pick this up slowly. Look at that beautiful red. Now, it might not be perfectly close to Drac's Fanger red, but I think I did a pretty damn good job. And there's a little bit of gunk down there, but I'm not too worried about that. So that's how you rack mead from one home to another. Now all you need to do is put your bung and an air stop up there, and you're done.